Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are back on the updates 1.83 dev server and we're having a look at the Type 75. Now this is the new rank 4 Japanese premium. It's known as the Type 75 MLRS and it's also known as a tank destroyer. What I like to refer to it as is the Japanese land mattress. The reason for this is because it has 130mm times 30 rockets. So it has 30 rockets in the back here, and then it has 130mm worth of size, and on top of this, it has 6.14 kilos of TNT equivalent, 4.8 kilos of explosive mass, and 50mm of penetration. So even though this thing may look like a little bit of a meme machine, it definitely has its opportunity to be kind of crazy in the game, and the way it does that is by hiding in areas and just waiting for enemies to come out. The best way to describe it to people who are either unsure about it or, haven't seen a lot about it or don't know a lot about it is it's basically like this. The 15cm PZW42 on steroids, and it has more rockets, it has more everything, and it's much more designed to maim your... it's much more designed to maim the other team psychologically than effectively. It also has a 50 cal on the front of it, which is lovely. If we look at the armor, 20mm on the front, 10mm on the top, 12 on the side, and 20mm on the back. So this machine should easily get hull broken, especially since it has less than the 30mm amount that was talked about. It's also very spacious. 3 crew in the front, you got a driver, commander, and gunner. You got the transmission. The engine is also in the front. Basically, the whole back of the vehicle is dedicated to the firing mechanism of the rockets, which makes sense. This thing is designed to flatten areas. This is not designed to be a tank destroyer of all things. Now, the question is this worse than the Centurion Avery as a vehicle? Because that was the conversation that I had earlier with a lot of people. Since this is a rank 4 battle rating 7.0, I'd actually say yes. And the reason for this is because it's not a rank 5. One of the nice things about the Avery is, if you have a look at it, it's at least a rank 5, so you can efficiently be able to research rank 6. This Type 75, which costs you around about late 7,000s, early 8,000s in the GE range, cannot effectively research rank 6 because it's been put as a rank 4 in the Japanese tech tree, which is right here under rank 4 instead of putting it here. So yeah, that is a problem. Then we have the issue of 7.0 itself. The other 7.0s that the Japanese have are actually quite strong. You have the Ho reproduction, which even though it had the nerf to its reverse, it's still an incredibly strong vehicle, one of the best guns in the game for its battle rating. Then you have the Type 60 ATM, another meme machine, but it does at least now have access to scouting. And then you have the M42 you can throw in, Type 61 if you want. So if you use this as a backup to a Ho reproduction, I can understand why. As a main tank, no, I don't see why at all. To me, this is as useless as a Katyusha or that other German premium. The only benefit that this thing has in the long term is that it's a rank 4, so it's going to be able to research better, and on top of this, it's going to be able to sit around corners and be able to maim people as they come around. Now, if we want to have a look at the customization of it, this is the standard color that it gets, and it gets a beige, grey, green camo, which is lovely, the bicolor green, which is okay in my opinion, the multicolor, which is very flashy, and then you have the winter camouflage. In order to unlock the winter camouflage, by the way, 550 kills. Good luck. The late winter camouflage as well, which is a little bit more dicey, so let's just put on the beige, grey, green. For me, this is the best camouflage for pound, just for style points. Just remember that the only way that this thing's going to be successful is in a capacity where you're able to hide it in a corner, wait for the enemy to walk past you, and then you batter them. So you have to wait for your enemy to not be paying attention. Modification-wise, it does have access to artillery, no scouting on this vehicle, and then also, of course, it tells you a few things about the rockets themselves, so that's lovely to see. One of the things that is interesting that I'll show you in test drive now is the fact that with the rockets, they can actually shoot through the 50 cal in the front. Obviously, the problem with this is that you wouldn't be able to do this in real life. So you see that 50 cal there? So let's just line it up with a rocket. As you can see, just going straight through it. So that is something to notice. The actual rockets themselves fire at quite a pace, so you can do a ranging rocket. Never mind, you can just kill something. You know what, let's actually go to the front of these vehicles. This APC-like thing from the Japanese, you know, this carrier, they actually use it for a bunch of different things as well. They use it as just a general APC, they use it for recon, and they also use it for this. You can see that the rockets themselves are not very stable in movement, not really a surprise, but for me, this machine is best used on a map like Tunisia or a map like Sinai, where you need to flatten a whole town. Once you flatten the whole town, then your team can hopefully move in and do a little bit of damage. Giving itself a 50 cal is kind of nice, you know, you can go after planes. You can also, as you can see, the elevation on these rockets is quite high, meaning that if you want to go after something over there somewhere, then you're able to. You can also see the wonderful mechanism they've created. Like, they've put a lot of effort into this, which is really nice to see. You know, you've got the horizontal drive there, you've got the elevation mechanism, it all looks absolutely perfect, you know, like a lot of War Thunder vehicles do, and there's obviously a lot of time and effort that's been put into this. I just don't understand why they've picked this vehicle over others to be the premium for rank 4 for Japan, especially when a lot of people have been asking for rank 4 vehicles a lot. One of the things that you do have to understand is that the back basket of the missiles is not a 360 basket. As you can see, this is as far as it goes to the right, and then if we check to the left, of course the 50 cal is doing whatever it wants, but if we check to the left, you can see it can't even go a full 90. It can go around about a 45, which is fine because the maneuverability of the actual, you know, the little machine that is holding it is completely, it's very good. So against the Sherman, you can see it takes a little bit of time to set up. Against the Sherman, the missiles do a hell of a lot of damage, which isn't really a surprise at all. Even though it's only 50mm of penetration, it's because it's 130mm, it's going to overmatch a lot of the armor that it runs into. At 7.0, it will overmatch a lot of light vehicles and stuff like that, and it will also overmatch some mediums, but against heavies it shouldn't. So what you're looking for is the explosive mass doing something magical against heavies, mainly getting into some nooks and crannies, maybe going through the cannon breach, maybe going through the driver's port, stuff like that. So this is an M26 Pershing. So let's take a shot. Up a little bit, we've tracked it. You can see that the muzzle velocity is not great on this machine. And as you can see, not going through the front plates of the Pershing. So that is a problem. As I said, 50mm sounds great when you have 130mm rockets, because it generally means that you're going to overmatch stuff. The issue is when you start not overmatching things, and that would be stuff like the front of the Pershing. So you're going to have to wait until you get to the side of things. And yes, you will one-shot a lot of machines with this. I know that I'm going to see a lot of compilations of this Type 75 doing really well, when you can cut out all of the games where you get one shot in and get absolutely battered in. What would be great to see is actual statistics behind it instead of highlight reels, because you know for a fact that a lot of people are going to use this and they're going to make highlight reels out of it, and they're going to make it look really fun and really cool, and at the end of the day it's not. It's an absolutely abysmal vehicle which doesn't really fit the game at all. It's just another machine, just like the Centurion AVRE, which doesn't really make a lot of sense in the game. Is it a bit of fun? Yeah. If you are trying to be competitive though, no, you never take this thing at all. What you do is you take the whole reproduction and you go smash face, because that thing is really good at smashing face. You can, as I said, one-shot a lot of machines from the side though, so, you know, if you want to use it as a sneaky breaky tank, you can. The issue is it is quite large when it comes to the rockets on top. When it comes to its anti-air capabilities, yes, the elevation is nice, as you can see. You know, you can fire a bunch of rockets over the hill and far away, but the maps aren't that big, so you don't have to worry. As I said, This thing should be used as an area suppression machine against light vehicles who try and cap zones really quickly, really fast in the middle of battles. That's personally, if I ever get my hands on it, that's what I'm going to use it for. I don't think it should be used for anything else, to be quite honest. I am actually just going to go test it on the T95, just give it a go. But yeah, I don't see the reason to take this over the whole reproduction. I mean, the driver's view is nice. This is not the driver's view, by the way. It's also not the commander's view, so they need to fix that. One of the things that they talked about quite a lot is getting the positions correct for the commanders. So we should actually be on that front cupola, I believe, instead of back here somewhere. At least the skin looks nice, and the speed that it gets is quite good, so getting... The problem with, you know how I said before, one of the ways this is going to be successful is getting into key positions quickly and being able to hold them being able to kill enemies when they come past. Well, the problem with this is that there are a bunch of light tanks at 7.0 which are a hell of a lot faster than you, and a bunch of mediums which are your same speed. So getting into those positions in the first place might be hard to do. Obviously gun depression isn't the best on this, not really a surprise, so shooting anything when you're on an incline ain't really going to work too well, unless you have some... set on fire with one hit. There goes the gunner, shooting through the cupola. God damn it, T95. But yeah, if you're on any slight incline, you're going to have to hope that the muzzle velocity isn't very high to be able to get through to it, and to be honest, it isn't. You can also hurt yourself by firing, so watch out for that, and you can reload on cap points. It won't reload by itself. It only has one set of 30 missiles. Overall, it's another machine which is very much just a meme machine. I don't really see it playing a massive role in game. It is kind of interesting to see, mainly because I want to see what other nations get for this type of vehicle. But anyway, kind of expensive and useless for what it is. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.